Let's meet Barry, the king of just enough. Barry is the kind of guy you might pass on the street and never notice, but his story is more familiar than you might think. He's the master of making do, the champion of scraping by, and the undisputed ruler of the land of OK. By day, Barry worked at a company that made custom-fit socks for pigeons. Yes, you heard that right, pigeon socks. It was a job that sounded like a punchline, but for Barry, it was just another Tuesday. His official title, Senior Comfort Consultant for Avian Footwear. In reality, that meant he spent his days answering emails about pigeon chafing and fielding the occasional call from an eccentric bird enthusiast. The work was repetitive, but it paid the bills. Barry's paycheck was just enough to cover rent, utilities, and the occasional splurge on gourmet ice cream for his favorite game show nights. He never missed a payment, but he never had anything left over either. Sometimes Barry would catch himself staring out the window, daydreaming about far-off places and wild adventures. He'd flip through travel brochures, tracing routes on a world map, but those dreams always seemed to belong to someone else, someone braver, richer, or luckier. Life for Barry felt like walking on a treadmill, always moving, but never really getting anywhere. Each day blurred into the next, a steady march of sameness. His bank account hovered just above empty, and his apartment was a patchwork of hand-me-downs and thrift store finds. It was a shrine to good enough, nothing fancy, but nothing broken either. The couch had a permanent Barry-shaped dent, the coffee maker sputtered and groaned every morning, and his old car, affectionately named the Stallion, only started when it was in the mood. Every object in his life seemed to echo the same message. This'll do? Sometimes Barry would look around his little kingdom and think, well, it's not so bad. And that right there was the problem. He'd settled for not so bad for so long, he'd forgotten what great even looked like. Not so bad became his ceiling. He never let himself wonder what more than enough could feel like, or what it would take to get there. The idea of reaching higher felt almost dangerous, like tempting fate. Every night after the ice cream and the game shows, Barry would lie in bed and whisper to himself, "Tomorrow I'll figure it out." It was a quiet promise, one he'd made 1,000 times before, but tomorrow always looked just like yesterday. The calendar pages flipped by, but nothing ever really changed. The routine was comforting, but it was also a cage. The alarm would ring, the coffee maker would roar to life, and Barry would step back into his tiny kingdom of okayness. Day after day, the same script played out as if he was stuck in a loop he couldn't break. Comfortable? Sure. Safe? Absolutely. But man, was it boring. The spark of excitement, the thrill of possibility, those things felt like distant memories. Barry was stuck in a rut, ruling over just enough with a sigh and a shrug. He wore his crown of mediocrity with a kind of weary pride. But deep down, he wondered if there was more. And deep down, beneath the routine and the resignation, Barry knew he wanted more. He just didn't know how to reach for it yet. Barry's relationship with money? Complicated. Every time he opened his wallet, he imagined a tiny violin playing as his last $20 bill waved goodbye. He tried saving. Once he bought a £50 bag of rice to eat for a month. By day 5, he traded it in his mind for pizza and caved. The rice became a doorstop, a starchy reminder of his failed frugality. Asking for a raise, terrifying. He'd rehearse in the mirror, then chicken out, convinced he'd fall through a trapdoor into unemployment. Barry saw wealth as a lottery. Some people just got lucky, not him. He'd see someone with a nice car and think, wow, lucky, never, they worked for it. To Barry, financial success was magic, not a skill. He believed he was destined to always be the guy who lost the ticket before the numbers were drawn, and so he stayed quiet, hoping money would just fall from the sky. Barry's turning point didn't come from luck, it came from cleaning his closet. He found a faded book, The Garden of Your Mind, Grow What You Want. The first line he read, "Your thoughts are seeds. You can't grow a money tree if you only plant seeds of doubt." Cheesy, maybe. But it hit him. The book wasn't about money, it was about mindset. It explained that thinking I'm always broke is like watering weeds and being surprised when they take over. There were exercises. Write down every negative thought about money, then write a better one next to it. Barry looked at his life and saw a garden full of weeds, doubt, fear. It's not so bad. For the first time, he felt a spark of control. The book didn't promise a magic money tree, just a shovel and new seeds. Barry realized he was the gardener, and that was both terrifying and exciting. Armed with his dusty book, Barry decided it was time for a change, even if it was just a small one. He didn't have a grand plan or a big announcement, just a quiet determination to start somewhere right at his own kitchen table. He shifted his morning routine, setting his alarm 10 minutes earlier, brewing a fresh cup of coffee and opening a blank notebook. The world was still quiet, and for those few minutes the day belonged to him. He called it the Why Not Me Breakfast Club. Membership 1. There were no rules, no dues, and no one to impress. Just Barry, his thoughts, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. Each morning he wrote down something he was grateful for, no matter how small or ordinary. Some days it was just the warmth of his coffee or the sunlight peeking through the window. At first, his list was simple. Coffee, Friday, a quiet house. But as the days passed, the list grew longer and more meaningful. He started noticing little things he'd always overlooked. He was training his brain to look for the good, not just the not-so-bad. It was a subtle shift, but it made mornings feel lighter and his outlook a bit brighter. Next, he challenged his negative thoughts. Whenever doubt crept in, he paused and wrote it down, then tried to reframe it. I'll never afford a vacation became, why not me? What's one small step I can take today? He started to see possibilities where he once saw only obstacles. Maybe it was skipping ice cream and putting $5 in a beach fund jar. It wasn't much, but it was a start, a tiny act of hope. This daily practice changed him. He felt a sense of control, like he was steering his own ship, even if the waves were small. He walked into work with more energy, smiled at co-workers, and even spoke up in meetings. The shift was subtle, but people noticed. His boss noticed too. Good energy today, Barry? It was just a few words, but they meant everything. That small comment was proof his new mindset was starting to show. He was becoming someone who believed in his own potential. The seeds he planted each morning were sprouting slowly but surely. His gratitude and hope were taking root. Barry was getting stronger, one grateful thought at a time. Each entry in his notebook was a step forward, a quiet victory. He was no longer invisible. He was growing, and for the first time in a long while, he truly believed that good things could happen to him too. The next book challenge: talk to a stranger every day for a week. For Barry, this was Everest. His first attempt, a squeak at a coffee shop. The woman stepped back. Ouch! But the book said it wasn't about success, it was about trying. Next day, he asked a man about his fluffy dog. He's a Samoyed, General Fluffington. They chatted for 5 minutes. Barry felt like he'd won gold. He kept going, chatted with a librarian, a farmer's market vendor, a street musician. Most people were friendly, some weren't, it didn't matter. The fear faded, replaced by curiosity. Barry learned the world was full of interesting people and stories. More importantly, he learned he could handle awkwardness. The world didn't end if someone gave him a weird look. In fact, his world got bigger. Each conversation was a small victory. Barry was building confidence, one hello at a time. He was no longer just a spectator. He was part of the story. Barry's confidence started to spill into everything. The book's trick: add yet to every I can't. I can't ask for a raise yet. I can't build this bookshelf yet. He tackled the IKEA bookshelf that had haunted him for months. It took hours, but he finished it, wobbly but standing. Each small win chipped away at his wall of I can't. At work, he learned new software instead of complaining. Soon he was helping others. Problems became puzzles, not stop signs. The leaky faucet, a YouTube tutorial away. Difficult client? A chance to practice communication. Every solved problem removed another brick from his wall. With each brick gone, the view of what was possible got clearer. Barry was no longer stuck. He was moving forward, one yet at a time. I can't was turning into I just did. And that changed everything. The book said, money follows value like a happy puppy. Barry wondered, what value can I create? He tried a lemonade stand. Yes, as an adult, day one cup sold, mostly ignored. Old Barry would have quit. New Barry saw it as data wrong location. Next day, he moved to a busy park, sold out in 2 hours. He made $75 and talked to dozens of people. It wasn't a fortune, but it felt like one. He'd created value and money followed. The lemonade stand taught him, don't fear looking silly, listen to feedback and go where the people are. It was more than a business lesson, it was proof he could make things happen. Barry realized he could create, adapt and succeed. The world was full of opportunities, he just had to show up, and he did. The lemonade stand was just the start. Barry's confidence snowballed. He saw opportunities everywhere. At work, he realized other companies struggled with the same software. He offered training sessions. His first client paid him $200. Next, he posted ads for furniture assembly and small repairs. Requests trickled in. He loved solving problems and helping people. Weekends became profitable and fun. Barry's mindset shifted from I need money to how can I provide value? Money became a byproduct of solving problems. He was still Barry, senior comfort consultant for avian footwear, but now he was also Barry, the software trainer, Barry, the handyman. His income streams multiplied. His bank account, once weeping, now hummed a happy tune. The snowball was rolling and Barry was loving the ride. Fast forward 1 year, Barry's life is unrecognizable. The man who once felt stuck in a tiny grey routine now wakes up every morning to a world bursting with colour and possibility. His days are filled with energy and his nights with a sense of accomplishment he never thought possible. He still works his pigeon sock job, but now his side income is double his salary. What started as a small experiment has grown into a thriving business, giving him the freedom to make choices he never dreamed of before. He tripled his income and his bank account sings. Every deposit is a reminder that he's capable of more than he ever believed. The numbers aren't just bigger, they're proof of his new mindset. But the real change is Barry himself. He stands taller, walks with purpose, and greets each day with a spark in his eyes. The transformation isn't just financial, it's personal, deep, and lasting. He's confident, curious, and happy. He's reconnected with old friends, made new ones, and started exploring his city like a tourist in his own life. Every step feels lighter, every conversation more meaningful. He finally took that beach vacation. No pigeon socks required. For the first time, he let himself relax, soak up the sun, and realize how far he'd come. His apartment is filled with furniture he built. Each piece is a reminder of his creativity and the pride that comes from making something with your own hands. He pitched a new system at work, offering value instead of asking for a raise. He realized that when you focus on helping others succeed, your own success follows naturally. His boss promoted him to Director of Innovation and Comfort. The title is new, but the real reward is the respect and trust he's earned from his team. Barry learned, when you show people how you can help, they reward you. It's not about asking for more, but about becoming more. His story is funny, but the magic is real. It's the magic of changing your mind. The biggest shift wasn't in his bank account, but in his beliefs about what's possible. Stop watering weeds of doubt. Every time you catch yourself thinking you can't, remember Barry and pull those thoughts out by the roots. Start planting seeds of possibility. Every small action, every new idea is a seed that can grow into something amazing if you nurture it. You're the gardener of your own life. The more care and attention you give your dreams, the more they'll flourish. All it takes is one question. Why not me? That single thought can open doors you never knew existed. Look at your own routines. What small change could you make today that might lead to something bigger tomorrow? If you want more, you can have it. The only limit is the one you set for yourself. Start your own breakfast club, talk to a stranger, try selling lemonade, take a small risk and see where it leads. You might just build a world 3 times bigger than you ever imagined. Barry did, and so can you. The adventure starts with a single step.